Welcome to Warhammer. So as we usher in a new year, we got one last release for Kill Team, and that's the Critical Operations, Tac Ops, and Mission card pack. While this might seem like kind of just a simple throwaway product, this actually has major changes for Kill Team as a whole, both for open board and Into the Dark. So we'll be going over the top 5 changes that this Critical Operations pack brings and why this should be on your radar. Let's start off with one of the biggest design shifts, and that's the change to mission structures. For each mission now, you have a set layout and a set objective out of 3 different objectives. And this is a huge change. Tournament organizers and players will love this change. You won't have to sift through all the poorly designed missions. This allows for creativity and freedom of expression from the players, and it just simplifies match play so much. And going forward with Kill Team, the overall mission structure will be more straightforward, easier to balance, and for you guys, it's a lot quicker to jump in and play. Number 4 is that the setup is streamlined. Match play has gone from 15 steps to a more manageable 11, cutting a lot of the filler out. Another welcome change to setup is deployment. You split your kill team into groups of 3 a la Warcry and take turns deploying. Now, the defender and attacker relation is not nearly as skewed and gives so much more counterplay for players. Number 3, and one of my personal favorites, is that Tac Ops have been rebalanced. First of all, no more deck making gimmick for Tac Ops. That was one of my least favorite things, is having a side game of making a deck of Tac Ops and then choosing between two. It wasn't very intuitive, and it was always confusing as a player who was learning earlier this year. As we said before, this really feeds into streamlining the game, which it needed. Also, each archetype's Tac Ops have been reined in or buffed depending on what they needed. So recon, infiltration are a little bit better, while security has been reined in a bit. It's also nice that a lot of the Tac Ops have just been simplified in general, because you needing to have them face down, it sometimes can be hard to remember what the hell you're trying to do during the game. Also, how you choose the Tac Ops is really nice. You can choose 3 from your archetype and then replace 1 with one of your faction Tac Ops for the bespoke teams, which is also huge. You can no longer take all 3 of your faction Tac Ops, and this reins in some of the higher power level teams like Pathfinder and Void Dancers, who would just take all 3 every game because they're really good. Now on to the bigger ones that are more subtle but have massive implications. And this one could easily be number 1, but it's the change to starting the game with 4 CP. While being able to do more things in a game is nice, it turns already some of the kill team's more powerful tac/strat ploys into being no-brainer auto activations every turning point. For example, Breachers, brace for counterattack/blitz, Commandos, just a scratch, wah, and sneaky get, Pathfinders, bonded and a worthy cause. You'll have more CP to oppress people with these very powerful ploys. While you could say this would buff weaker teams, this has an inverse effect of making top teams even better. This is a strange move since Kill Team is a very resource limited style of game. Giving a less restrictive design seems out of style for them. We will have to see how this one plays out. It's a huge change and one that we're not entirely a fan of. And eking out into the number 1 spot are the changes to scouting. Arguably the biggest change, and it's easy to overlook. The new 4-5 change allows barricades on vantage points, which is kind of a nightmare because people already don't like vantage points. They're supposed to have a risk-reward relationship, but this just makes board setup extremely difficult. On top of this makes silent archetype teams so much better. In the same vein, Recon now allows the free dash that you get to act like you have fly, which is incredibly strong because this feeds again into more vantage point shenanigans. Seemingly little change with big consequences, more likely to hurt the game than help, unless you and your friends or your TO put a lot of thought into balancing boards and such. So that's it! While there are positives and negatives with this card pack, I would say this is a huge win because it just takes a lot of the inherent problems with Kill Team, which is kind of it being rules dense and overcomplicated, and really trims a lot of that fat, making it a good quality of life change for pretty much everyone. You may have noticed that I talked a lot about tournaments and tournament organizers, and that's because I was thankful enough to have our swole bro, Matty J, who is a local TO of ours for Kill Team, to help with this video and give me some ideas on exactly what were some of those biggest changes. We're all very excited to play with these new rules and like to hear what you guys have to say. As always, this is Rafiq from Swolehammer. Stay swole.